today in the States. And go.
Dun, 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 dun.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Welcome to Crypto Night in Canada! Yay!
Thanks for the heads up, Nance.
I know. Well, I pressed the button and Ryan was looking down.
It's like when I come out of the show, I have no idea what to expect.
I know. Well, it's a good thing.
We're a minute early too.
Were we? It said 000.
We're ready to rock.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I did not.
Well, that's why your thumb's not on the button for Biden.
No, nobody. No, I'm not in charge of any of that. Anyways, hi guys. Candace is in the house. Ryan's in the house. I know that Redbeard was here pointing out how close we are to 900 subscribers. Thank you, Redbeard, for pointing that out. We are the little engine that could. We like to think of ourselves as a little engine that could. Jason's in the house. I don't know who Pete Bow is, but welcome. And so great events going on today. Biden and his executive order. Really exciting stuff for crypto. He's acknowledging that it exists. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I'd love to chat about that. And as the title of the show said, recession prepping. I think that at this point in time, we would all be fooling ourselves to not think that we are headed down that merry path. And recessions, nobody likes to talk about them, but they are a fact of life. And I will say that I have some new information on some bankruptcy. I have an insight into bankruptcy because my girlfriend works for her brother who's a trustee in bankruptcy.
Glad you clarified that because for a minute there, it sounded like we were like the 10th rendition of the Titanic movie.
Well, we could have been, Tim, but we're not. So there you go. Neener. Anyways, what is going on? I see that Len's in the house and Sharab's here and Bleak 784. Hi guys, Blackwood Designs, welcome. And Marie Claude. Gary's in the house. I know Gary always loves when we talk about recession and inflation and all that sort of stuff. Well, he doesn't love it, but it is a fact of life. So Ryan, you were saying, just as we were getting on when we were coming on tonight, you were talking about you saw something today regarding bankruptcy.
Not necessarily to do with bankruptcy, but only because I used to follow this stuff for my old job. But a lot of interesting action on subprime lending going on in the United States, in Europe, most definitely, especially with subprime lenders like company, I believe it's called Santander, and I am way too familiar with them on the subprime loaning aspect of things, but they're starting to adopt crypto. It was just a big podcast on everything. But anyway, subprime lending is kind of kicking up a little bit, and I don't know if that's a good sign. Anyway, I wanted to kind of hear more about what you had to say on the bankruptcies. Actually.
Okay, so the reason I titled tonight's show is I always kind of gauge where the economy's at by my girlfriend and how busy she is at work. So that's a terrible thing to say, but she works for her brother and he's a trustee in bankruptcy. So I get a lot of good scoop on what's sort of the landscape. And all the way along through the pandemic, every single time I had virtual coffee with her, I was like, how busy are you at work? Are you busy? Are you busy? What's going on at work? And she kept telling me, well, we're prepping. We think that there's going to be a wall of bankruptcies hit us. And then we went all the way through 2020 and nothing. Every single, I meet with her every other week on having coffee. I'm like, so where are you? Are you busy? No, not busy. So all of a sudden comes sort of October-ish, she got picked up a little bit busy. And then she said, but then it dies down because people try to make it through Christmas before having to do anything. And then they get into January. So again, I kind of had put it behind me and wasn't really thinking about it. It was Tim that said, how busy is DAF? I'm like, I don't know. I was meeting with her last night. So I said, how busy are you? And she said that she's super busy now, and there's a few odd things that are happening that she hasn't seen in a long time. So first of all, when people are coming in to declare bankruptcy or to do a proposal, they always try to start with a proposal. If people don't know how it works, you go in with all your stuff and you try to propose what you'd like to do. And then they go to your creditors and they try to work out a deal. And the creditors will then, maybe you can get 60 cents on the dollar. Sometimes it's 30 cents on the dollar. Some lenders are better and make a deal quicker. Some, apparently the worst to deal with is the Royal Bank. They are hard nose, and they don't accept much of anything. So anyways, I didn't know that. That was just good information. But she said, so first of all, the debt level of people coming in now is much greater than she's seen before, like an astronomically large size debt. So now, because it's large, they're going in, they're trying to get their repayment down to like 30 cents on the dollar, because there's no way these people are going to pay it back. And so then she says, here's the next thing that she has not seen in a long time. If you file a proposal, you have to follow everything to the letter of the proposal. And if you deviate from that letter of proposal, they will give you 3 strikes and then you're out, and they do what they call an annulment. And she said that doing an annulment is a really, really horrible thing. That it is not a thing you want to do. And it means you have to start the whole process all over again. And it's just really, really not a good thing to do. And she said they are seeing record number of annulments. So that is indicating that people aren't being able to cover their own home expenses, their life expenses, and cover, even at 30 cents on the dollar, the amount of debt that they've got. And so she said it is a real problem, and it's adding to their workload, just trying to figure out what's going on with the economy. So that...
I was researching this earlier today for a video I want to do for next week. But so other countries, especially in Asia, their personal savings rates have been going through the roof over the last few months, like household savings rates through the roof. Canada's household savings rates are still above what they were before the pandemic, but they're plummeting off of a roof right now. And by the time they get back to the 3%, the pre-pandemic level, and you've got that recession kicking in, and Canada's going to have absolutely no freaking cash in the bank. Canada's in a really unique spot in comparison to the G7. Really unique. When you break down, for instance, I have the gross domestic product numbers literally in front of me, and November to December saw we're flat now. And our CPI data that's going to come out for February, I already mentioned this in my live stream today, but that's February. That's not going to reflect any of the BS that we're dealing with right now. Core CPI data is going to go up, but then real CPI data, including fuel, basically, and food, that's where the 10% inflation comes from, and comes by the spring, tops. And then what are people going to do? Because the banks are already raising interest rates for housing. So people hope to have a cash bag out there, but I don't know. It's interesting that you're noticing more deviations off of these plans. So that's a telling sign right there.
Yeah, I don't even know. Tim and I talk about this on a regular basis, because obviously we're now trying to figure out what to do about, do we stay in our home? Because we're renting, it might not be a choice for us to do that. So we're obviously looking, do we re-rent? Do we buy? Like, what all are we going to do? So this is an ongoing saga until this is settled. We're going to talk about it pretty much all the time. So of course, hey, Ken.
Hey, Cisco, where are you, Poncho?
Welcome. Anyway, so what I wanted to say on this regards is we started to try to figure, why did you take him out?
He was misbehaving.
Oh my goodness.
I was misbehaving. Oh,
You're going to make me lose my train of thought, babe.
Actually, no, he went for his nose, so I took him off.
We didn't need to see that.
No. Ew. too.
Yes.
I know. So, but what I was saying is that now we've been looking. We hadn't paid any attention to what was going on. Really, we've heard the stories in the media, but we hadn't really been paying attention about whether to buy, whether to rent, what all to do. And so Tim and I did what we normally do. You know, we take a pen and a piece of my purple book and we start to do the numbers, and the math does not add up to me. And this is where I came up with, oh my gosh, we're heading for a recession. There is no question about it in my mind that we are heading down the path of a recession. And I know all last year, all I talked about was inflation, inflation, inflation. And you all thought I was a lunatic. And here I am now, recession, recession, recession. I don't think I do not think we have any road out. I mean, now I could be crazy, because what has the Fed's done? But they've thrown money at every problem known to man. I just don't actually think they can throw money at this point in time, because we have such high price of fuel that it's going to drive the cost of every good up. Every good and service requires fuel in order to manage through it. You think about, if you want to have a slice of bread, the bread has to come from wheat that's grown in the ground. How do you get that out of the ground? You need a truck that rolls down and tills the soil, plants everything, then has to roll back down.
Yeah, Russia's the world's largest producer of wheat. So bread's probably really going to be pricey in the next little while, but maybe not here in Canada. But just a little funny tidbit. Yeah, it is getting a little bit nutbag with the gas prices. Did you guys see that picture I posted on Facebook with the Northern Ontario price? I didn't realize Ottawa hit that within like a day or two.
Oh, yeah.
But it's almost... Well, I don't know what it is in Northern Ontario now, but it was almost $2 was the highest I saw, almost. And then I'm sure it's above that now in Northern Ontario.
Yeah.
Well, summer's coming. Everybody bike to work. My neighbors across the street, they both bike to work. They only use their vehicle when they go grocery shopping. Other than that, they bike to work. Even in the wintertime. They were biking in the wintertime.
They're in that. Good for them.
And they're old. They're in their 60s.
I know, but Ken, that theory only works if you're driving to the work and then staying in the workplace and then driving your bike back home. What do you do? Like, how do people that, like me, I have to go see 2 clients tomorrow. So I got to drive all the way out to the other side of Toronto, do my meetings, come all the way back. Like, what do you do with that?
Well, that's a little different. I mean, for people that don't have to do that, you know.
I don't
Local,
know,
right, Ken? Local.
Yeah, just like buying your food local.
Yeah.
That's the
Or do the
dryer.
meetings virtually.
Every town has their own brewery now, right? So buy your beer local.
It's true. I know. Candace,
What do you-
I would love to stay virtual, but apparently now that they're allowing us to go and venture forth, people actually want to see you. Terrible this time to have to do that with gas price.
What are you noticing on your end with respect to the food distributors? And is this affecting you guys yet? If anything, starting working on it, or is the fuel, or do you guys even deal with fuel costs as part of your gig? Or
Oh my God, do we ever? It's bad. And as it's coming in, we're going to have to implement fuel surcharges now. We have contracts that are so funny. They're old written contracts that we've just sort of rolled over with extensions. And I think the one contract, I think the guy put it in that it said, oh, well, if gas prices ever hit $1.60 a liter, then you can insert a fuel surcharge. So I called him and I said, we have to insert the fuel surcharge now. I think they never expected us to ever have to do it. That's why, because it was written in 2009. Can you believe that? So they were thinking, oh yeah, if it ever gets out there, it'll never happen. And then look, now we're at almost.
they're smoking their cigars. It'll be the end of the world anyway.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it
funny.
is bad. It is totally bad. And honestly, it adds. The fuel cost, as I said, is not a joke, because everything we do, everything requires fuel of some sort in order to manufacture it and get it from point A to point B. So we have to pass those costs on. You have no choice. And then all the people now trying to be told to go back to work now that all the mandates are starting to be lifted, offices are starting to open back up, and all kinds of people. It's been the biggest debate, not just at my office, but at so many offices where people are like, oh, we want you back in the office. We want you back in the office. We want you back in the office. Right now, when gas prices are like this, you're going to force people who you forced them initially to stay at home. Now you're forcing them back in. People are going to be underwater, like underwater with all of this.
I know my mom asked me the other day, how do you use the bus? You know, she's never used the bus since she was like 20 and she's like 70 now. So, but she was thinking about doing it because the gas is so expensive that it's cheaper to take the bus to and from work.
Did you tell her that they upgraded from horses?
Well, I think they had buses back then, but yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think the transit system's really changed that much.
You know what gets me is the fact that our premier just axed license renewal stickers to the tune of $1 billion in revenue.
Oh no, dude, you'll get that back through the speed traps that are going to come up in every neighborhood in Ontario, dude. Like honestly, I don't know how long it'll take, but they'll be everywhere. The amount of we went over this one before. I'll briefly say it again, but officer safety alone is not compromised whatsoever with a pullover, or if it's a simple roll through a stop sign and you get nabbed by a cop taking a picture, it's instantaneous. I mean, I might hate it because they catch every damn thing, but then I should just chill out on the road a little bit. You know what? I don't know, but they'll make up that revenue pretty quick. Literally every light post in Calgary has one. It's insane. I'm sure Candace probably remembers it. It was nutbag, but I don't know. They'll make the money up. We don't have stickers here either.
Yeah. So Ali's asking this question. So I thought we would bat this around. It's a good question, Ali. Should employers reimburse for gas? Well, they've never done that in the past. And Tim knows because you do a lot with gas. And I have employees that work for me that we reimburse gas when they're sales reps. They get a car allowance, plus then they get to submit some mileage. And it came up in a conversation today at work for my sales folks because the price of gas has risen so much, but we only ever look at our program once a year when we as our new fiscal year end approaches, we examine all those things. So sometimes when we set it, you win all year long, and sometimes we set it and you don't. And that's just the way the ball bounces. But Tim, maybe you can explain how it works, because you can't, from a government point of view, you don't get paid from going from your house to your office, your main office. It's not
in my case, where my home is my office, I'm not allowed to get mileage from home to my first client. Once I start the day, I'm okay, but the clock starts once I pick my first client up to the time I drop my last client off. Now, having said that, I think a lot of employers, and it depends on the industry you're in, to be honest with you, of who's going to allow what, because, certain industries, like, I hope would be more lenient, but I think that the price of gas is going to affect a lot of things. I mean, someone here had the question about what's Uber going to do, and I think those services like Uber Eats and all that, you're not an employee, you're considered a contractor. So, what you get paid is part of your reimbursement for gas, and it's going to be so for anyone listening here is a really, really, really good piece of advice. Start keeping really good records for your mileage and your auto expenses. Because if there's any time that you're going to want to go and claim it, it's going to be for next year's tax return. And Candace, I'm sure you can back me up on this, is that you have to be able to prove your records, how much mileage it was, how much, what the odometer was, how many kilometers, how many personal kilometers. I know it's a pain. Gary can understand this as well. But if you ever get audited, and the first time Nancy started at GFS, first year out of the gate, she got audited. I had one of those little pedongle, call it pedongles. It's GeoTab, and it goes in the OBD port of your car. I printed out all the Excel sheets, and it was detailed to say where she'd gone, how long she'd been. I still have mine. Like pay
I used to do old
$32.
school. When I
And
used to write
get
off
a
my
weekly
vehicle,
report
I
in
would do.
Excel.
Okay, man, I've been stuck on the stupid logbook from Staples, using that for.
So
Okay,
I'll
so
give
I'm an idiot.
I'll give my buddy's company a little plug here, and it's FreshBooks, and it's like a QuickBooks, but it's on your computer for small businesses, and you just scan your receipts, and it'll divide out into the expense report, whatever department this expense brings out your HST and all that stuff. It also has a dovetail program for your mileage. So it also will log your mileage and everything. So it does all your accounting and all your mileage all in one application, and that's FreshBooks. And that's I think $30 or $40 a month, but it's all your accounting done, right? So be careful. Be very careful. I filled up today from empty for $110. I drive a Chev Equinox. It gets really good gas mileage. I did a triple session from Kitchener into Jane and Finch and back again. And then I did a single assessment in Cambridge, which was maybe 15, 20 kilometers. And I'm just over a half a tank. So today cost me, we'll call it $45 because I'm just over half.
It's getting nuts, man. My tin can of a freaking truck costs $1,980 something to go from Calgary to Ottawa and then back to Calgary. Like $2,000. Forget about the hotels or any of that stuff, the food. And I'm like, this is freaking nutbag. Like, I know the truck isn't super great on gas, but this was totally nuts. And yeah, if your car, I mean, mine's only 65 liters for a full tank, but it's like, I don't know, 100 in Alberta. It's only $1.50 or whatever here, but $100. It's
the other
insane.
thing that I have watched, because I watch gas. I've watched gas for 34 years of my life. And the other interesting thing is, and mark my words, I said it here tonight, March 9th at 8:20 p.m. that if you put the price so high and then you back down on the price, they get a brand new price high that we get used to because we get so desensitized to it. Oh my God. We'll turn around at the end of the summer, fall, and go, $1.80 is really cheap. Mark my words.
Yes, that's why Verina's
Mark my words.
That's why Verina's comment was, do you think the gas price will ever go down one day again?
And you know what? You're not, so to speak to what Nancy is, you're not going to see an ease in dollars in the cost of food and the cost and down the pipeline with food and transportation and stuff like that, because the trucks can't turn on a dime to electric or hybrid or whatever. They're just not being manufactured out there. Until that happens, we're screwed.
Totally. We don't have the resources to go this full EV push. Even I know people love to hate the guy, but even Elon Musk is saying turn the oil taps on like yesterday because we can't satisfy demand. And I know Ford and GM can't because we definitely can't. So it's like at the end of the day, we got to be realistic. And this is not, I'm not even going to go down this rabbit hole offering my opinion on it, but there will be that carbon price increase on April 1st as well. So add on, I think it's 13 cents. I could be off, so don't quote me, but 13 cents. So, you know, if your majority of Ontario is going to be $2 a liter at this point. So
and you watch with for any of those I mean, Gary can attest to this because he's paying through the nose with his truck for gas. I had an F-150. Ryan, you know the biz because you were in the biz, but this has the potential of knocking the stuffing out of truck sales.
Oh my God.
No one's going to want to, I mean, whether they're new or used, you know.
Well, I hate to say it, but let's break this down. If you want a nice Dodge Ram, and I don't mean a base model, but let's just say it's a 10-year vehicle. You want a nicer version, right? You go mid-trim or higher trim. After taxes, fees, and everything else, for the higher end Dodge Ram, you're going to pay between $90,000 and $130,000. Plus your insurance, plus your warranty, plus your coverage. So let's just say $140,000. Okay. Now you've got the price of gas. And it's like, that was one thing I never had to deal with as an objection as a sales guy. And you always adapt. but this one must be shaking the Fords and Dodges out there, because like I remember it was already back in the day when I used to do this, it was already 120, 30 bucks to fill a tank. Now it's probably 200 bucks to fill your average Ram or I don't know about F-150, but
my go-to is the F-150 or the F-Series Lariat. That's my go-to truck.
Yeah,
right?
it's nice. Yeah.
And I'm sitting here looking at them. They're starting around 88 to 90,000 over. They're actually over 100,000 if you want the nice Lariats and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, when I've missed 90, 80, 70,000 dollars. Like it just seems to have gone from like 60, 65, 70, boom, 100. It's like,
you will literally
how did that happen?
$30,000 in depreciation. Depreciation used to be bad, like the roll off the lot, lose your money thing. It is so whack now. The only vehicle that rolls off the lot and almost has no depreciation that I know of is the Jeep Wrangler. I don't get it. I don't like driving them. I don't like the way they look. But those things will sell for 40 grand and they're 15 years old. I don't get it. But the amount of depreciation, like I said, I mean, you're talking about a Laramie or let's say a Ram, what I know better, just a Ram 1500 Limited or whatever, Laramie equivalent. That thing rolls off, you're down 25, 30 grand like immediately. Not to mention, they don't offer premium rates anymore. Gone is the 0%. That's never coming back. That was sweet in 2014, 15, 16. It's gone, okay? And everyone actually got screwed with that because in those 0% contracts, they were set up for a renewal in 12 months. So most people got screwed with those. But now, now with prime rates going up too, so ridiculously, $499 used to be a BS used car rate that I'd have to give to people. $499. That's going to be what a prime brand new vehicle is going for. And a used vehicle is going to be a 9.99. Doesn't matter your credit. It does not matter because it's a flat rate with used cars. So it's like these rates are, I don't know, Tim, I know I'm so curious to hear your thoughts on the industry because I just don't, I thank my stars every day that I'm out of the industry because dealerships are dying. Cars are being priced out of the normal person's pocket. Like I said, unless you have 200 grand kicking around for liabilities and the ability to drive this thing for 2 years, how do you buy a truck like that? You know what I mean?
You don't. And I think people, I think it's a vicious circle and a rabbit hole because people who would normally purchase a vehicle that are in the industry and need it for work or stuff like your parents' business and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, the smartest thing to do when you're in construction or contracting or whatever is to always lease your vehicle because of the write-offs and you hand it back, blah 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 blah. But I'm just wondering how many vehicles are going to be leased and then defaulted on. It's just a vicious circle.
Yeah.
It's a vicious circle.
Too. I was bringing this up too. I remember well. I don't know if you guys remember, but this was probably 9 months to a year ago. We've known each other that long, Frig. But I was talking about with the prices being the way that they are right now, I know how I used to build deals. And if this would be the worst case scenario that happens when someone has bad credit. Now it's going on with everyone. And if you follow with me here when I say that these deals are being built on cars that are so overpriced, meaning that even if you get the best interest rate humanly possible, negotiated the best, you're underwater so damn deep that you are not trading out of that vehicle. It's not happening. So for all those people who were used to swapping or, maybe it's time for an upgrade, check your rate, dude, because you are so underwater. It's so devastating because they shot themselves in the foot earlier last year by doing this, by building the deals this way, making sure that their customers were paying top dollar now, ultimate profits now while the supply chain's effed up. I get it. They're compensating, but it screwed your future business. All of those phone calls that the salesman would have made for your 2-year, 3 or 4 year trade-off, that's done because your customer's been buried so deep in that car that you made bank in 2020. Forget about it till 2026 or 7. And then you talk about now the increased pressures on the consumer spending going down, manufacturing in this country, which is an indicator of total shit. That's going right down the tubes. I have the GDP data right in front of me. I was just researching it. It's insane. I mean, and gas, I think, is going to be what? Do you think gas is maybe the straw that breaks the camel's back? Or
Yeah. Absolutely. Because people have basic needs. There's a couple of things that will cause people to go with this that we leaning towards a recession. Is inflation doesn't actually necessarily mean recession in all cases. Inflation just means the prices of things are rising, right? What causes a recession is when you don't actually have when consumer demand goes down. And the reason consumer demand is going to go down is because you've inflated everything so high that they can't afford it. So people who were in an average mortgage before, if they took out home equity line of credit and they wanted to, we're stuck in our home, so I think I'll put a new kitchen in or a new bathroom. So they took out equity, and now all of a sudden, a person that's got not an abnormally high income, now they've got an abnormally high mortgage, and the Bank of Canada is not going to stop at just a quarter point raise. I believe that they're going to continue to raise rates all through this year to try to cool the market down a little bit and to get things into normal level. And now you've got high price of gas, so going anywhere is costing you double what it was before. Then you add in the high price of food, and food scarcity is going to be a real thing. Like they're already, the manufacturers are having troubles keeping up with. We were out, like one manufacturer is completely out of bacon, which through the other manufacturer in this country who keeps up with the bacon, that they went out of stock really quickly because people get panicked about bacon. Oh my God, there's no bacon. And then now
two big fat bacon fat cats with their cigars and cowboy hats. We run this joint. That's all I'm thinking.
Yes. Tim, funny. Thank you so much for posting that. It's very kind. That maybe we all need to go back there. But if you realize
that's the 2022 model I'm looking for.
That would be nice.
New house on wheels. Nice.
Yeah. Yes. But then when you realize how much it costs to feed those horses, you'd want to go back to the fuel from a car. So anyways, but it's a cyclical thing. And so when people, like, the price to your heating price has gone up, your water price is going up, I think even Netflix took an increase on what they were doing. You start adding all these increases, and what are people going to do? Like, seriously, nobody's wages are going up. Nobody got a 10%, 20%, 30% raise. You got to be getting higher than what the inflation rate is in order to not be going backwards, and then add in
most people's investments aren't even keeping up with that.
Not now.
Actually, there's interesting data that came out from the United States today. I did hear this on a video, so I have to give credit to it. It was a Meet Kevin video. Actually, it was yesterday I heard this. He had retail data that I believe it was yesterday. I don't know where he gets this, but he subscribes to Bloomberg Terminal, which costs like 25 grand. It's this huge thing. But I don't know where he gets this data. But basically, it was for the first time, the average retail holding in the United States, like for a retail investor, not accredited, basically, the average retail person's portfolio turned negative. So for the first time yesterday. So everybody's bleeding out with certain stocks. I mean, oil and commodities were dope, but I mean, energy was awesome. Finances have been yada, yada. But all we have to do is look at the GDP data. Like in the United States, I didn't even post this on my live stream today. Their job openings reached 11 million, yet their job growth is pretty flat. That's where you get into trouble because of the amount of leverage the worker has over the manufacturer who's already dying. So that's what, when people talk about that wage spiral, that's what that is. And you're not necessarily at risk of that right now, but holy crap, have we seen a better setup? I mean, every indicator possible. I can only talk about so much in my live stream. Nancy's gone over like 20, like every single one of them is pointing in the same direction. And yet we've seen manipulation like we've never seen before in our life. That makes me doubt the sky is blue. Almost. Does that make sense? Like,
I'm with you on that, though. I'm with you on that because I thought we should have gone into this recessionary environment a year and a half ago. And I was like, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Why have we not hit a recession? Why have we not hit a recession? My concerns, I just wanted to bring this up because Carrie Lux, I posted it just a second ago with the Lay's chips. Yeah, Carrie, that's a good point. those are manufacturers pushing back on the retailers. The retailers going, no, you can't pass this much of a change over to us. And the manufacturers are going, well, then we're not going to ship to you because we're not in business to make no money. And that's the reality of the situation. They are going to pass costs on. And why is it happening with some retail locations and not others, you ask? It's all to do with when their contracts come up. Like I have contracts coming up and expiring all the time. I'm constantly renegotiating. I don't have everything going, okay, on February 1st, we're all going to do this. It's all has to do with when the contracts come up. And so retailers are trying their best to not take those price increases. But at a certain point, it's just like the manufacturers are going, fine, we won't ship you. We won't even manufacture the stuff. If you don't understand that it caught all these higher costs.
So my question is, who's going to be the big corporation that puts the soother in their mouth and says, I need a bailout?
An airline.
Who's it going to be? Guess.
I have
no idea.
I have no idea. I mean, to pick one company out of all of them, I mean, financials typically do well in a recession, but this seems more like a 2008 than it seems like a recession. I don't know. Maybe that's me being doom and gloom, but with the amount of people that could possibly default after the most intense buying spree we've seen in like 2 years, out of just this weird psychological need to spend because we're at home. It was the weirdest thing we've ever seen, really. Like spending skyrocketed, savings were up and then depleted almost instantaneously. Like, I have no idea, but I bet you Bombardier will get something at some point. What do you think? Bombardier? Did you know that the Norwegian sovereign fund has, Kevin O'Leary has this crazy theory, by the way, about why he's divested from all the crypto miners, and it has a lot to do with that clean Bitcoin, yada, yada. Anyway, Norwegian sovereign funds invested in apparently the world's cleanest Bitcoin miner, but they have totally banned, the Norwegian sovereign fund has totally banned, I read this today, but I have no clue when it happened, the purchase of Bombardier shares by that fund completely. Bombardier is being investigated left and right now, and they get bailout after bailout. They can't make money. It's like, stop.
Yeah, but I've heard that song and dance before with S.E. Lavalin. Come on.
Bombardier sorry?
They're all just trying to keep jobs in the country, right? So they're going to keep doing this so that they don't lose more manufacturing jobs.
Well, maybe it's the wrong type of jobs we should be keeping in the country. Pardon me for saying this, but shouldn't we be creating stuff that makes us more self-sufficient in this country?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Shouldn't we? Like, I mean, to help. No, I'm sorry if anyone works for Bombardier or SNC Lavalin. I'm sorry. And I don't mean this in any disrespect, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to turn to the old Donald and say, Canada first.
Well, isn't that the one thing that our government was supposed to take away from COVID, is that we need to be more self-sufficient? When are they going to step up to the plate and start doing it?
The problem is people are always, and I learned a lot about this in the last couple of days, actually, because I've been so critical of the short-sightedness of canceling the Keystone pipeline, yada, yada, given this whole oil crisis and all that. And then Keystone wouldn't have been built, so it wouldn't have solved the issue, but it would have been a step forward, obviously. And then I started listening to oil execs because the Americas, for instance, is saying, we've issued 1,000 permits. Canada's issued permits as well that nobody's satisfying. They're not going to be doing extra drilling. Almost all of these execs have said, because we're hoarding oil, preparing for the next major downfall, okay, not to mention the government policies that have been set up between the left and right over decades. So it has nothing to do with the government in play, okay, but the government policies in Canada are such that the industry would have to wait 5 to 10 years before new infrastructure could even be built. So buying Alberta oil is not even really possible as much, and that's why that's something I learned. I didn't realize that we had literally crippled our most lucrative industry in the country, but they can't even make it. They can't even build these facilities. So I don't know what
to go back to Ken, we learned that we really put our foot in it by outsourcing the pharmaceuticals for COVID and stuff like that when we needed it.
Well,
and shame. I mean, it's like, you're absolutely right, Ken, that the fact is, what have we learned from this time period? But you know what? Nothing is going to change, because the almighty vote equals the almighty dollar.
and it drives all the decisioning. And here's the harsh reality of the situation is if we want to improve our situation, our economic situation in this country, we need to be more friendly to business, and we're just not. We believe as a society, and it's been proven over and over and over again, that everybody they look at themselves in their own little world and they go, oh my gosh, the government is taxing me. Okay. But here's the truth of the whole thing is that we have to, and then they go, oh, we need to tax the big businesses. We need to tax the big businesses. They need to pay their fair share. No, we need to make it friendly for them. We need to make it advantageous for them to come to the country so that they bring innovation, they bring jobs. And in order for them to do that, they have to be able to make money, and they have to be able to reinvest their money and keep their taxes low in order to stay and do all of this. But we don't have any appetite for that in this country.
Because it's total misguided. It's totally misguided, because at the end of the day, there has to be a reward. By the way, hey Tim, there has to be a reward for success and working your ass off. You don't think they pay taxes? They pay way more than we do. I tell you that. I could work for 1,000 years and never pay as much as Kevin O'Leary. But at the end of the day, I remember getting into an argument with a guy I used to work with. He was bitching and moaning that the owner of the place should pay more taxes. And I'm like, okay, but then two of us are getting fired. You know that, right? We should pay more taxes. I shouldn't be paying this much. It's like, I genuinely believe that some people just don't. It's that I don't know if it's a lack of understanding of a business owner's brain.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is.
Because it's purely short-sighted. Like when I was telling this guy, I'm like, the only person in the room who deserves the tax deduction is the owner of this building, who's worth $25 million, so that he can hire 10 more guys or girls, whatever. And we can all rock and roll, build a bigger business, get promoted, and make more money. Or like, why would we? That's like biting the hand that fed you. That's not rule number one. Like, I learned that as, you know what I mean? It's mind blowing to me, but there's such a lack of understanding. And I don't know if it goes all the way back to school, but why don't people want to be free of, and I say that kind of liberally in a general sense, but I don't understand it. I find some people just don't get it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. Hi, Tim Perry.
What's up, Tim?
Hello. How's it going?
Good. We're on a rampage about recessions and taxes.
I caught it. I had gone for a jog and then I came back. I was eating dinner, so I didn't have time to jump on right away. So I caught it and it was good. So I figured I'd jump on.
Yeah.
What's your take?
What is your take? How do you feel about it?
I mean, we've been talking about a car crash coming, or a train crash, or whatever you want to call it. And it's crazy because I can still tell my friends, and I'm just a doomsday. I'm, conspiracy theorist. I'm all these things, but I don't know, man. I think that cabin in the woods is looking pretty good now.
Yes. Except it's so hard to get because it's now gone up so expensive now. I don't know what that cabin in the woods. We're all going to have to live in a commune. I've decided the only way Tim and I are ever going to be able to afford anything, we're all going to have to live together.
Yeah. No. I actually, at least regarding me, I've already got mine lined up, so I'm okay.
Oh yes.
But because obviously it doesn't have like running water and it doesn't have all those things, so that brings the price down significantly. But at the same time, I think having no running water might be actually good in this day and age, because who knows what's going to happen at this point.
You're bang on for that, because we had this discussion on the weekend, and I said, if I was to do something, it would have a well, it would have a septic, it would have solar, it would have the ability for wood, and I'd be near water for food.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's so there's no well there. So our first order of things this summer would be to get a well in, and then after that it doesn't really matter because we got a roof over our heads, we got a real wood burning fireplace, all this stuff, because when shit hits the fan, and it's definitely it's starting, and you see the ignorance of some people where they just like, everyone went nuts, like World War III. And then all of a sudden now it's like everyone's totally gone back to their lives. I'm like, you realize that this is just the first part in a strategic chess game that is going to happen.
Yeah.
Like Rye posted on his Well Simple thing the other day on Facebook that I really wanted to highlight that I don't think you guys have talked about yet, which is like what Russia, India, like and China are all doing. And it just, I hate to say this, and I hope I'm wrong, but it just sounds like it's going to be an economic hit on the West.
Oh, let's just be real about this, because I'm not saying I support Russia or anything like this. I am on Ukraine's side for sure, but they're playing us like pawns here. Like we're falling into this. Like I can't believe how stupid we are. They've got all the oil. They've got Europe by the throat because of their natural gas. They have all the gold. They have all of our tech. They have all of their own tech and the largest population base on the freaking planet with potential allies with the Middle East and Iran. We are so dumb and so left for dead here. For anyone thinking that NATO's doing anything, or you want to know why the United States, again, today 180'd and rejected those fighter jets into Ukraine after saying we'll send you all the fighter jets? Biden rejected, 180'd it, okay? Because Russia's already won this at the end of the day. The convoy's seconds away from the capital of Kyiv, which is sad to say. Now you've got the president of Ukraine buckling at the knee, and I hate to say that because he's probably feeling desperate right now, agreeing to almost every damn thing the Russians want in the peace talks now, saying, okay, screw the EU, screw NATO. That only took a matter of a few days. So we know what's going on despite the news that's coming out. And when we're backing them into a corner where we alienate them off SWIFT and China gives them an alternative payment source within 2 seconds. They're not screwed. Okay, their ruble's being killed, but they have in-house stuff now. Also, no one's considering this, okay? As one of the largest manufacturers of wheat the largest of wheat and oil in the world, okay? Their cost of labor, because of their currency plummeting, has turned to zero. So they are the cheapest oil producer in the world, the cheapest wheat exporter in the world. They own all of this for free. And we've set them up now with the biggest coalition block by population, like Tim Perry just said. And we're sitting here like we won. We're like, oh my God.
So I have an app that gets me like every channel in the world, right? So I've been jumping all around, and I'll say this, number one, I don't like any wars. I condemn all wars. So I'm not big on any of this before everyone jumps on my back or insinuates something. But I always, I think history has taught us that, we got to watch out for propaganda on every side. I don't believe anything. I from the truckers convoy, I now don't even I don't have a say in this whole Ukraine war because we got fooled in our own soil. So I don't know what's going on over there. All I know is we have to, not take everything at face value that they're giving us, and Verena said, we got to stay optimistic. I'm not a negative person. I'm not I'm a happy guy still, but you got to be realistic too. You can't just think like everything's going back to normal or everything's all this. Like you have to prep yourself. You guys were talking about trucks earlier. I always was cautious, even with $1.13. I was like, I don't even want to get an SUV because of gas and carbon taxes that they were talking about. So it's just so you can adapt. If you can adapt, then you'll be okay, right? So.
I think the other thing with what Verena is saying is I think we need to really talk about what the problems are, so that it's take a look at the bigger picture and then try to figure out what you as an individual can do in your life to navigate through all of these things. Like Tim and I were talking about when I think it was 2 weekends ago, Tim, that we all of a sudden, when this all happened, and I'm watching all the Ukrainians and the Russians lining up trying to get money out of the bank, and there's no cash anywhere, and everybody was freaking out. I said to Tim, do we even have $5 anywhere? So I made him go and get some cash. So this is one thing you can do, is if you've got some money in the bank, go and get it and put it in your house, not under your mattress like the way they did in the olden days, but you should have some cash, because if we were to go under a cyber attack of some sort, What are you going to do? Because we do everything now, every single thing. Do you even have a transistor radio? Like, we were joking about this. I go, okay, well, how would we even hear what's going on? Tim goes, well, we have to go out in the car. I said, okay, what if we run out of gas? We don't have the car to turn on. Like, we haven't set ourselves up to hear anything or to be, just take some preparations if it happens.
I mean, in case of emergency, you should have one of them hand cranked radios, because then you can just sort of go like that.
That's
Exactly.
the air raid siren. That's the air raid siren.
That's the air raid siren.
Sorry, before I forget, the news channel. So it's not just a channel app, and I'm going to give you guys a huge. You guys were even talking about it earlier about affording, like Netflix and stuff. So just so you know that this is probably not obviously a legal thing, and people don't love it, but it's called Apollo Group TV. You can split it with various friends. It's $150 last time, at least with me and my buddies. So I have 3 people that we split for $150 a year. That's it. We get basically every channel in the world. So like I've watched India news, I've watched Russia, all this stuff. You get Netflix, you get movies that are out, you get UFC fights, you get everything. And I remember when I first got this, which was over a year ago, my buddy had shown it to me, and I was like, dude, I'll throw money in it, but it's going to be gone in a month. But you know what? For between the 3 of us, $50, whatever, it's worth it. If I get one UFC fight, it's all good. Started wondering why it was still around after a few months. Did some research. They back all their stuff onto the blockchain.
Really?
So they can't get through
on
the digital stuff. Yeah. So it's called Apollo Group TV. So they have different apps for like Apple. It's Startup Show. You would download the app Startup Show, and then it'll function just like you're looking at. I've tried to tell you multiple times, but I've never said it publicly.
Don't get mad.
But no. I'm just saying. I told you.
He did, because here it is. Here's the app Startup Show right here.
Yeah, so you have to go. You have to pay for Apollo Group TV. It does not work perfect all the time. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes the shows will cut out and this and that. But I mean, for what we're paying on all this other stuff, for split it. All of us here, Candace, Ken, we could all split it, and I think you only get 5 accounts actually, but you would be able to watch
$30
all this stuff, and it's not perfect, but like I said, you get way better. Yeah, so like Verena's saying, like it's there 1 year. Oh, that's pretty good too. So yeah, it's probably similar then.
Yeah, I have Relax TV, and I pay $70 a year Canadian for 4 or 5 connections.
That's sick, yeah. Because like normal satellite now is what, like $100 and something, and that's not including. Usually you get it with the internet package now, right? So, but it's really good. I mean, sorry.
No. I was just going to say, this is the type of thing we need to be talking about, so we help each other with these inflationary times, that we're finding ways to get some cost savings. This is awesome.
I'll just say this. I can watch anything I want, and it's all free, but I can't see any more.
Okay.
just dangles the carrot.
Okay. She's breaking the law, is what she's saying.
I mean, obviously right now, like, I don't watch any more news anymore, but like CBC, they air free stuff. CTV, their show, you can watch all old series if you're into, like, I like Who's the Boss, like, dated myself there. But like, there are ways you can go around that, but a simple app now to get all your stuff is pretty good. And like I said, you split it amongst 5 friends, right? And then it brings the cost down. I don't know what the cost is now, but yeah, they have different things for PC. You have to find out which app works with each PC or Apple, but I mean, it's been crazy good. One UFC fight has already covered my subscription.
Yeah.
But I mean, like Tim was saying earlier, and what we were just alluding to, if you're talking about cutting costs and stuff, obviously within the city, I guess it would be more difficult, but like, that's why, like get a well water out in the country or something, and then you just have as a backup, you have a pump system, right? Because I did that this summer with the cabin. I got just those old hand pumps coming in from the lake that at least I could do dishes with. Not that I'm saying we're gonna go to total doom and gloom.
Well, no, and there's ways to purify your water, right? Like it isn't doom and gloom, but it's just it's more, I mean, I've been watching this stupid YouTube channel on a guy who bought some property outside of Tweed, just outside of Maddock, 180 acres. He's built his own thing. He goes in by ATV. He's built his own cabin. He's self-sufficient. And it's like it's not that much of a pain in the ass, really. I mean, it's a full-time job to keep the firewood going. But,
right. Well, and think about it like this.
And if you've got the time and that's the lifestyle, well, that's your job.
Right. But has anybody too caught that the government right now is trying to pass a bill for obviously accepting universal basic income?
No.
Okay, so that's happening right now. You can go right on the government website and see it.
Well, the
So,
thing
like-
is, though, it's a private member's bill, so it probably won't make it through.
No, hopefully not. But you know, like I know people, you can call it conspiracy theory or not, but like I think that, you know, countries are falling victims now to globalist type vibes, right? Corporatocracies, stuff like this. And you see this push right now, which is, you know, you can call it what you want, but do your own research. But that whole like World Economic Forum thing, I'm sure it's getting more. Anybody hear of that?
No.
No? So Trudeau went for 5 years, and he's a young global leader right before he became prime minister, ironically, for the World Economic Forum. So Macron, they're all young global leaders from this. And obviously they do meetings in Davos where they do these, you know, all these rich people basically come up with ways that they think the world should be run. And obviously one of their big things is that, you know, by 2030 to 2050, that they want people not driving as much, and they don't want you to own as much of your own personal assets and stuff like this. And I hate saying this, but it's like, I told my buddy, I'm like, I'm going to start buying seeds and doing this if we just go straight from COVID to war. And basically it happens. So it's like, okay, like this kind of irks me. So I bought seeds the other day for veggies, and it's not about prepping. It's just about putting more of like everything into your own hands, right? It's like Tim just said, like solar, off the grid, all this stuff. You control it. That way, when, you know, all I hear is cyber like attacks now. That's all I hear about. And I hate it. But when you hear those things, it's like, okay, when and where, you know, like, let's just get this over with, you know? So I don't know. I don't want to be doom and glooming because
I think the first cyber infiltration will be sort of a test, so it won't be the bad one.
Right.
It'll scare the shit out of people, but it will be the test to see what can we get away with, what will we do different next time.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's probably going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and like Nancy said, look at everything that's attached to digital now. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to have just a good backup or good friends with connections so you can all lean on each other, you know, network and stuff like that. Like you said, have a little commune. You know?
Well, because, okay.
I'm trying.
Riddle me this. So you think about this to yourself. Because if it happens and we're in Canada right now, where do you go to get warm, right? So we were talking about that a lot of the insurance companies have outlawed wood burning fireplaces. They've made it so cost ineffective on homeowners. Tim, don't say things like that. But don't, you know, like it's, where do you, when you think about that, so now we don't have wood burning fireplaces. A lot of people don't have them in their home anymore. They've only got the gas because that's what the insurance companies made everybody do. So then what do you do if something happens? We're in Canada and it's cold here. So what are you going to do to keep yourself warm? Have you thought about it? Do you have a backup do you have some batteries so you could start, you know, flashlights and things like that? We went down, and when we were at the Sabo Beach, we had 6 minutes. We were down with no power. And I was like, I thought it had happened. I said, oh my God, it's happening. And I didn't even know. By the time I ran around and found everything, I wasn't even clear what we had there. Of course,
I did the valiant thing and walked into a fucking wall.
That's it. But my point on it all is just, it's not to scare. It's to go, if it happens, what's your plan? That's all this is.
And like, the checklist, I'm sorry to say it, but there's just like, if you're watching the pulse, if you're looking, like Ryan just said, like India, Russia, all that they're talking, and you see like the yuan or however you want to pronounce it's going to strengthen. And then I don't know, call me crazy, but is it not more feasible that eventually they're going to just get off the US backed petrodollar and they're going to move into something else, which is obviously going to tank, the US dollar, but that's really good for Bitcoin because Bitcoin loves to go against the US dollar when it goes down. So who knows?
Well, what's scary is this. Okay, so I was doing a little bit of research with respect to Russia and oil. You had a bunch of oil stocks, yada, yada, yada. So their exports decreased a year in advance of Crimea. Noticeable decreases. They were stockpiling, right? So obviously in preparation of economic BS. Now, this year too, this should have been obvious to people, which is why intelligence apparently was saying that the invasion was imminent, but they've been dropping their exports of oil. Now, what China and Russia and India have been doing like crazy for the last 5 years is increasing their gold purchases. So one thing I've been reading about, or watching, I guess, is the fear if that coalition went to a gold standard and we were based in fiat. Because if they went to a gold standard backed by some of the largest holdings on the planet, between the three of them, they have it all, then we're hooped, really.
Yep. And don't sorry.
Yep.
Don't forget, like times of like economic crisis is like what, and you've already said it earlier tonight that our banks are basically already screwed. You even saw like a little bank run just when they were freezing accounts for the truckers.
Yeah.
So they can lock it. So by all means, also keep some cash on yourself. And also, I've already started, I asked my buddy, he drives for Brinks. I'm like, where's the best place? And Rye would actually be a good guy to ask, like where to get liquid silver, smaller silver bars and stuff like this. Just have this, but Kangumba. Yeah, I definitely, I think it's going to happen very fast. I think life right now, at least, is in fast forward. It just seems like it's one thing after another. That's why I turned off the media. And I'll say this, if you want to be optimistic, if you turn off the media and just go outside, man, life is great. Yeah. Like, people are still good people. That convoy thing taught me that. Like, the good is there. It's these crazy rich oligarchs, government, corporatocracies that put, the innocent people of Ukraine. And then I even feel, I'm sorry for just normal people who are Russian, like getting punished for this. Like, did we not learn anything from Japanese internment camps and what we did to Muslims after 9/11 and even what we've done to the Chinese? I've heard Chinese have been treated bad regarding COVID. Like, do we not learn to just that it's not other people's faults? Like it's these. Well, and it's, I was reading a thread. Because I found this Twitter thread so interesting. I read it on my live stream yesterday, and it was this guy depicting internal Russian polling, and they see these sanctions on an attack on them and their family. They don't see Vladimir Putin. They don't see Zelensky. They don't see any of that. They see the fact that all their kids are fired from their part-time jobs. They can't buy anything. They have no cash. And the polling was suggesting that it was some crazy number. I don't want to repeat something I can't remember, but it was something ridiculously high that all these Russians just daily starting to blame the West more and more and more and more. Well, now, obviously by a lack of information from their end as well, but two, we are punishing the average citizen for existing where they were born. So, you know what I mean? So, and who's to say it's not going to happen on our side at some point? That's the thing. Like, the truckers thing taught us that, like I do now have a connection. My friend's mother donated the truckers thing and her like shit was frozen,
Really?
Yeah, like her bank account was frozen for a donation that was measly.
Yeah,
so that begs the question, Tim.
That.
Yeah, didn't Jagmeet Singh's brother donate?
Yeah, like $13,000 apparently.
And what happened to him?
He got a refund, and he said it was an accident, and I didn't mean to do it. I guess he blacked out, drunk, and donated to a trucker convoy. That happens so often.
Well, there's so many of them out there; it's tough to keep them all straight.
But that was, as we know, my stance on that. So that was a big wake-up call for me because I could become the person that they're going to consider some sort of domestic threat, even though I'm the farthest thing from it. And people are going to think I'm doom and glooming, but I was that close. I mean, I was sweating every day, but I had already taken all my cash out like the day after I heard that was coming. So I wasn't worried, but I still didn't want to be frozen because I didn't know how long it would be frozen for or anything like this. Because obviously I did,
So how is the weather in Tennessee, Tim?
Yeah.
No, but okay. So I know we've talked a lot of doom and gloom, and I don't want to do that. I want to talk about, well, some of the things that's going on. Like, we haven't talked yet about Biden's executive order. Are we thinking that this is it? The markets seem to feel that this was a really exciting thing, and people were very happy. I mean, you can see it in the jump in the crypto space. Do we think that this is going to have a long-term positive effect, or do we think that this is going to cripple us a little bit?
Or is it a knee-jerk reaction to Russia
I think
adopting Bitcoin and
so.
getting away with that?
Let's have Candace answer.
Yeah.
I think it's a giant nothing burger, to be honest. People are looking at it as something positive, the fact that he's saying that he wants to do something. But all he essentially did is basically just told a whole bunch of different people, you go look at this, you go look at that, and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
He hasn't actually done anything.
It's one step. Well, it's one of the required steps that we need.
When you look at how long bureaucracy takes in the U.S., you're probably not going to see any form of legislation for at least 6 months or more.
True. It's
And
the
genuine-
first step, though. It's nice as a first step. I mean, it's not like that spot ETF is going to happen without these committees that they're all going to set up anyway. You know what I mean? So,
And holy banana bread, the bull and the bear are agreeing. This is.
I agree with Candace on that one too. So,
Good point.
genuine. No, freezing accounts is not new, but this is setting a precedent for donating $40 to something that you believed in that pretty much was harmless and being punished for it by having your bank accounts frozen. And she did have something up with her car insurance too. So for donating, and I know exactly what she donated. She donated $40. Now I have friends that donated far more that didn't get crushed. So there was also, that was only, I think it was the Give, Send, Go that got released. So her email was obviously, and they attach you through your email. So it's like, okay, maybe if you think you're going to be a person that defies governments and owns, because I hate saying this and I'm not trying to scare everyone, but I think there will be a push on crypto too. We all have to get our fiat on-ramp through ShakePay. So when they're, starting to push for digital currencies, are they going to punish people who are in crypto? And it's not something that is scaring me away from it, but it's just something that I entertain to be aware of, to have more sources. Will they take away Bitcoin ATMs? And then how do you get your money out?
Yep. All things to consider. Candace, I was wondering if you wanted to do your metaverse.
In a second, I just have one thought first.
Okay.
If the government is moving in that direction that they want to just start keeping people at home as much as possible, then crypto kind of makes sense if you think about it.
That's why your metaverse, that's why I still think the metaverse, like right now, I don't know if anyone's been following crypto in the last bit, but privacy coins are going nuts because of the whole whatever. But I wasn't going to move any money that way because I feel better about the metaverse, because just like Candace said, unfortunately, as much as I don't like it, this government push and everything, gas, everything, it's going to force people to just basically stay in their homes, stick to your Oculus, and you'll be happier type thing. And they're going to go into the metaverse. And the metaverse is going to be this big, massive thing. And sadly, we're probably all going to get rich off of it. But
well, can I ask you a question then? So it's interesting to me that the businesses are trying to force people back to the office when your guys are thinking the government's trying to force people to not be driving places and to stay at home.
I didn't actually know most of my friends are being told to kind of keep working from home, but they have the choice to go in. Like they're kind of like, oh, if you want to come in maybe one day a week, but they're not. So far, no one that I know is being encouraged to go like full time back. But
okay.
I don't know why a business would be encouraging people to go back, given the added expense. Like it freaks me out for REITs. But like some of the REITs that I own, literally, because like if I was a business owner, I would demand X inefficiency. And if you didn't meet it, it's easier to fire you because I've never met you online person, or you're done. Then you just have a certain efficiency ratings that have to be hit, and nobody goes to an office. You don't have all that upside. or all that downside capital risk. Really, I don't understand why people want to go back, or
They don't.
why
The real
businesses
estate
want them
board in the
back.
Toronto area is pumping some hope in the condo prices, because they say now as there is a return to work, it's going to bring the price of condos back up for rent.
Well, that's just the thing. Like, I'm hearing it all over the place, that from people who have a team of people like myself, and our team doesn't want to go back to work. They don't want to go back into the office. And yet the corporate head, like the people that are above my pay grade, are saying, we need to get people back into the office. You know, we want to see people in, and I'm thinking, but what for? I mean, they're talking, it destroys their culture. It destroys I've got other friends who run big companies, and they are literally getting hammered from their corporate head offices, telling them, get your people back to work. And I'm thinking, people, it's going to become part of their compensation plan, is that they can jump all over the place because there's still jobs available, and they're going to be like, no, I want to be able to work from home. I don't want to be able to go. I don't want to go into an office. Like, really and truly, wouldn't you want it? Wouldn't it be awesome if we could work every year from January, February, March in Florida? Like, why wouldn't I want to do that? Right? And I think, anyways, this is
maybe that's it then. If you are allowed to work from anywhere, people will start going, like, building their own communes and going out. Maybe it forces people to stay in the same area and stuff, and stay in the city. Because I know, like, when you look at this, like, utopian, well, I like to call it dystopian future that some of these oligarchs have in mind, it's that more people are focused in the city, more dense populations, right? You even see it around Burlington and stuff, this, intensification, where they're just building on top of, like, buildings right now, rip apart an 8,000 square foot house and put in a 16,000 square foot house. That legit happened on Lakeshore, but downtown Burlington, I don't even recognize anymore, because it's just the whole skyline's been taken over.
right.
Being up here in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, and being the route that we take up to the cottage, there's a lot of Mennonite. And the more we get down with what's going on in the world, and the more we travel through the countryside and see how these people live, it's like, there's something to that. Like, they're not far off base. As much as people make fun of it and go, that's ridiculous, I would never be that way, there is something fundamentally correct and pure about that.
And people who are willing to adopt to that model will most likely thrive more in the next 20 years than the people who are addicted to their technology and have to be, like, in all that stuff. Because the more, like, I've taken, back in the day, all these, like, survival courses and stuff like this. And now I'm thinking about, like, oh my God, like, Nancy was just talking about how we heat ourselves. And, like, you can take a candle and you just take 2 ceramic little, plant bowls, put them within each other, and you're getting this insulating heat things. You'd be surprised how well those heat comes off. Like, there's so many simple ways to do these things, but most of the people that are out there now, I mean, most kids don't even know how to change a flat tire anymore.
Right. They don't know how to do many things. I was even thinking, one of the things that I've been watching a lot of on YouTube when I get a moment in time is I've been watching even some of the YouTubers that are now showing food that you can make economical, like how to feed yourself in these economic times for $20 a week, $30 a week, and how to do it. And it's like, it's all of these things that we have to start, again, going back to not scaring people, but, like, educate yourself on how to do this, how to stretch things out a little bit more, how to make things last, and we're going to have to go back to carpooling, and we're going to have to go back to sharing in a sharing society. Because I was even thinking, with the price of homes, like, who is buying these homes? What kind of salary do you have to be making?
No, you know what's scary
to afford these
Can
things?
you know what's
BlackRock.
scary about this? First-time home buyers who can get away with the lesser down payment. Those are the millennials who are feeling, I gotta get myself a home. I gotta get in the market. And those are the ones who are effed the most.
Right.
Straight up, because they have no equity in their home, and we're coming into bullshit with interest rate hikes. And it's the millennials who are getting killed. Like, tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't own a house. If I had 200 grand for a down payment, promise you right now, I'm buying a plane and I'm leasing it out and I'm making monthly income and I'm starting a business. Straight up, I'll lease it out to flight schools. Like I'll start a business with 200 grand. Like I cannot understand. For all the millennials that bought in at this moment, it better be their fucking forever home. You know what I mean? Or almost borderline, because they're so buried in it. I don't understand how people can buy. Like Nancy, you and Tim are renting. I get it. How could you buy it this? I mean, with the level of risk that we're all facing, right? I don't think well, okay, this is a question for you guys. Do you think house prices are going to, no, I'm not going to say go down, but do you think they're going to match the asking price as opposed to these overbids pretty soon? Or because they're very strategic in keeping their asking price low, the overbidding being extremely high. What do you think is going to happen with housing prices?
Well, I think the thing you have to am I on? I think the thing you have to consider is that because of the overbidding and holding off offers, it has artificially inflated a new baseline of what houses, condos, etc., and rent can be asked now. And I think it's just I see a parallel in what they're doing with gas, and it's like it's going to reach a ceiling, and it might come down a bit, but it's not going to do this. So I think we're looking at the productivity and the product of being new highs and new baselines of houses as we will know it from here on in.
I know, but if
Same
you
as
go
gas.
if you go into MLS, go into MLS.ca and you put in there, they've got the mortgage calculators in there, and you just play around with that mortgage calculator. I cannot buy into the fact that people, like some of these little itty bitty places that are going for 900,000 and over $1 million, 1.1 million. What are you having to make a month in salary to afford this? Like, I don't get it. So we're going to have multiple families living in these homes. The only way that's going to be afforded is there's going to be people living in the top, and then you're going to have renters in the basement, or vice versa.
That's what everyone's doing. And they're talking about, who here has noticed all the friggin' co-ownership, the new trend? You get in with a home with your friends, yada, yada. They're already trying to normalize the fact that you can't afford a home, you poor little bastard. So you're going to have to buy one with your friends, and you're going to have to live in a dorm room. These ads are all over the place.
That's one of the models with the globalist thing is they want people all living in the same thing. And then you'll basically, you got to read the whole, like the book. They literally wrote a book called The Great Reset, and you read the book and like, you're basically going to be in your own house. And then if you don't need to use it that day, some other people come in and use it for a business meeting and all this stuff. You won't own anything. Drones will drop off your dinner. Like, you won't have to go to get grocery stores won't exist anymore. Like, it's this crazy vision where like, no, you're not going to control us on that level. And if you think that, you're going to get some huge pushback. And that's my, you want optimism? At some point, people are going to push back. They're not going to go along with that.
You know what's interesting that's popped up on my Facebook now is this home exchange thing that's out there, right? So really, you really own maybe one home, but you can live anywhere in the world and just exchange homes. Like, you know what I mean?
It's that's unique. I mean,
yeah, sure, it's kind of cool actually.
It kind of is a little bit cool. I feel I feel less and less every day like I need a home to feel satisfied with myself, or like it provides me any true value. I live comfortably with the same payment I would have a mortgage payment. Yes, I do have the equity at the end of the day. That I just feel like there's opportunity cost with prices this high. There's an opportunity cost with buying a home. And it's like, I don't feel like I'm actually winning anything, because the only way I could truly win off buying a home right now with these inflated prices is if the market was just the worst thing ever forever for years and years. I don't understand it. But Tim and Nancy, you guys are have you guys heard about, okay, so they announced this in January. CMHC was where I read it. I don't know where it's being debated or whatever, but they're thinking about increasing the amount of down payment that you need for an investment property upwards from 30 to 35%. So if you want to be a business owner and actually have rental units, you can't. Okay. And they're going to limit potentially HELOC from that completely. So you cannot use a home equity. It has to be pure cash. So it's like, okay, so the average Canadian's done. So that doesn't limit rich foreign investors at all. If you've got 25% down, 35, you don't give a shit. So the average Canadian, though, is trying to build a little bit of a business, taking advantage of their HELOC and the 25% down. No HELOC, 35% down. Go home. No suit for you. You know what I mean? It's hilarious, but it's ridiculous. Like, they're pricing out the average little guy in Canada every day. It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, regarding Toronto, at least, as far as I was watching a thing on it, was a lot of investment firms are buying up houses.
Mm-hmm.
Like BlackRock right now, obviously the biggest basically asset, runner in the whole damn world, is buying up houses. And I don't know, that's suspect to me, right? And then they're just renting because the rent's so high. And it's and there's a great I can't remember the name of it, but it's all about, like, I can't get over, BlackRock literally owns like Pepsi and Coca-Cola, they're running 51%, shares of it. Like, it's insane what BlackRock. So what are they doing when they're buying up? And it's just like, are they driving the market up and just going to hold it so that no one can afford it?
I
but I don't know.
Price diamonds almost, because diamonds are actually pretty common. Like, they're all over the place, and it's the hoarding of diamonds that makes them rare.
Right.
And because, again, diamonds are really, really common. So again, the hoarding of it makes it rare. It almost makes me think of that diamond cartel attitude with respect to the accumulation of assets by institutions right now, as if we're all blind and can't see them buying up our everything that we've ever worked for the last 100 years since we invented the friggin' steam engine is being bought up right now by these guys. And yeah, that was a good point, Tim.
I know. Well, if it doesn't make you mad, I mean, you just said it, and I was just reading. Someone wrote a really good piece the other day, and it was actually like the National Post, believe it or not, and it was all about that basically the hardworking people have been working their asses off. Now, obviously, like Genuine just said, there's like a wealth transfer, but what it is obviously the gap between the rich and the poor, and the elimination of the middle class essentially is what's happening. Because most people aren't going to be able to afford the middle ground, right? Like, you see these millionaire people right now saying, "Oh, if we can afford to pay more at the pumps right now and stuff like this." Easy for you to say. This celebrity was worth $14 million, but to the average human being, that gas bump is affecting them.
And
this is what families and stuff.
This is what's so corrupt too. I was briefly mentioning this on my channel. The media will only ever mention core CPI data. Core CPI excludes food and energy, gas, blah, blah, blah. So what we're actually hearing every day is core CPI data. Okay. Oh, it's at 6-7%. Go to generalized CPI data. So what everyone's actually paying out of pocket, we're already at 8 points. We're going to get to 10 points. These prices are absolutely insane. I was reading that.
Yeah, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street currently on 70%
it's
of the
insane.
world.
I wish I could remember the name of the documentary, because you can literally, and I did it, they teach you how you can just go, and it's all out there that you can see on like Yahoo Finance and stuff. And I was blown away, because as a person who I always thought, I was like, okay, I know that they use investment groups and all this to hoard all the resources. But I was like, oh my God, like, I knew Berkshire Hathaway, but I did not know of, and I knew of BlackRock, but I didn't know of Vanguard for the longest time.
But isn't there like all sorts of regulations that the government puts in place? Just saying, in this particular case, like when two companies want to merge together, they have all kinds of things where they won't let them, because then they create a monopoly. How is that not being identified here?
The name of the documentary is Monopoly, or something like it's something about that.
Yeah.
And it basically it goes into that, and that's it. But I mean, look at even charitable foundations like the Clinton Foundation and the Trudeau Foundation. Like he takes foreign money in through the Trudeau Foundation. Like you guys were talking about some of his stuff earlier, the We Foundation and stuff like this. So they use these things. That's how they get the money in, and they do their little nefarious things, and everything looks, on face value, it looks like it was this great deal, but then it's all these private investors buying it up, and you don't realize it, right? Genuine laws of vibration, like he's going on. I'm big on quantum mechanics, man. Obviously, huge on quantum mechanics, but the problem is at least with what I believe for the subconscious is you need like half the world to also think about that law of attraction to get like, the evil, oligarchs to stop bending us over. So I can only manifest my own consciousness, which is I'm gonna go drive out west, and I'll probably stop in and see Ryan in a couple of weeks as I go surf for the next couple months. So
Nice.
Wait, what?
yeah, I'm well, now that there's a little more freedom for people. I'm gonna go, as Nancy likes to say, I'm going to do a walkabout.
Oh, brother.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by any of this. This happens.
Once the spring comes, Nancy knows.
I
So
know.
yeah, so I'm gonna head out. Yeah, I'm gonna hit Whistler. I'm gonna hit Tofino.
Do some surfing.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we just do for a minute? I want to do the Metaverse update because I love to hear what's going on in the Metaverse. So
Yeah, the Metaverse is that one place where you can still afford to buy land.
We can barely afford land in the Metaverse now.
I know.
We just gotta. I think we have to wait for Ken or Tim to come back to.
Oh,
actually
I can
pull
do
up.
it. I can do it.
Can you? Can you do it?
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. All right. Welcome to the Metaverse Top 10 this week. The markets were a little bit crappy most of the week. They picked up again today. So you're going to see a few numbers in the negatives, but let's jump right in. Number 10 is our old friend Rainicorn. We haven't seen these guys in a while, but they have, their ROI was negative 0.7, but that was enough to push them up to number 10. So we've seen these guys before. They've got the rainbows and the unicorns that you can use to buy NFTs. Definitely pretty darn cool. Number 9, falling 2 spots from last week from number 7 was Axie Infinity. Now they were down 16.1%, so that's pretty big. Number 8, falling from number 4 last week, was Render Token, which we talked a little bit about last week. They were down 11.8%. Coming in at number 7 is, we've seen these guys once before, VFox. They came in, they were up 7.3%. So this guy's, once again, they're a retail VR-based metaverse. They basically really emphasize retail experience, gaming, and social media. And they also are looking to host a lot of digital events. So I think they're going to be interesting in the future once the metaverse is ready to start actually housing a lot of people and digital events. We're not seeing a lot of that yet. Number 6, moving up from number 8 last week, is our Avagotchi. And that's the one that's based off of that famous Tamagotchi. So it'll be interesting to see how long they stick around. I'd actually like to go in and check this one out. I haven't yet, but it's on my list of ones I'd like to check out. Number 5 is our number 1 from last week, Spheroid Universe. They fell 4.7% on their ROI. And once again, these guys are not really a game. They're actually a platform for developing extended reality projects. And if you check out their website, it actually looks really cool because of their space NFT being just a way that you can manage your own social media on the metaverse, which is kind of really, I think, anything that takes it out of the hands of the corporations is a good thing. Number 4 is Decentraland. So Mana fell 2 points. They were down 13.1%. Number 3, DeFi Land. I actually hated putting this in here. They were up 16.4%. If you remember my little video from last week, I was not impressed with my little experience with DeFi Land, but people are buying the corn. Now, part of the reason, too, is this may be an artificial pump because last week, remember, I did mention they fell 75%. So this may be part of that compensation for that sort of put them back up. So hopefully they fall off next week because I'm still annoyed with them. Number 2, we've seen these guys before, Benzene. So they are basically, it's an MMO game about earning crypto and blowing up cars. So if you like to blow up cars and Mad Max, this is a game for you. They were up 27.7%. All right, number 1, a brand new one for our list. It's called Deep Space. They were up 65.7% last week. So they are a play to earn space multiverse exploration game. You can actually mine resources in the game, use those resources to upgrade your equipment and to craft new equipment. The minting process has the possibility of creating rare equipment. So these all are the form of NFTs that you can buy and sell through their marketplace. So it's definitely one of these games that, there's a lot of passive income that you can make. They do a lot of burning on their tokens as well, which is kind of nice, which helps keep the price of their token going up. So those are the coins. the stocks, I think, were a little more interesting this week.
Okay.
So let's start with number 7. So number 7 is EA. They weren't on the list last week. They fell 2.74%. Keep in mind with the stocks, I think almost all of them are in the negative or very close to the negative, simply because stocks had a horrible week until today, and today helped bring them back up, but not all the way, not recovering all of their losses. Coming in at 6 is Apple. Apple fell 2.07%. Now, Apple did have an unveiling yesterday. They actually unveiled some new product. It's called Apple Studio. Has a lot of excitement in the tech world. It's sort of like a hybrid between an iMini, and a Mac Pro, an iMac Pro. So it looks like a really good thing. Really high end. If you want to go on that, you're looking at 7,000. You can get a low end at 2,000, depending on what features you want. I looked at it and I was just like, oh, I drooled a bit. I can't afford it, but I did drool on that one.
For $7,000, I'll buy 5.
There we go. Number 5. This is somebody we haven't seen before. Skyworks Solutions. They were down 1.70%. Now, these guys make chips. They're a chip maker, and their chips are designed for the 5G mobile infrastructure. So Apple, for example, the OEM chips that Apple use are made by Skyworks Solutions. They have the connectivity and speed of 5G is going to be huge when it comes to being able to interact with the metaverse using mobile platforms. And people are using mobile platforms now more than they're using desktops. So that is the way of the metaverse. Now, one thing that's interesting here is many consider their stock to be undervalued and believe it to be a very good potential to outperform the market. I've looked at their fundamentals, and I have to agree they're about $170 a share, something along that lines. But they have a really fundamentally good company, and I think they're definitely something worth looking into. Number 4, To-Take Interactive. They're back on the list again. They were down 0.92%. And once again, these are the guys that do Grand Theft Auto. So I think once the next GTA comes out, these guys are going to be huge. Number 3, falling from number 5. And you'll notice this is the only one on the chart this week that was on the chart last week. Everybody else fell off. They were down 2.47%. Good old Intel. Number 2, we have Google coming back in again, down 0.60%, and we've seen these guys enough. But this takes us to number 1, and number 1 I think is interesting. It's Equinix Inc. They were down 0.19%. These guys are going to be huge when it comes to building the actual infrastructure of the metaverse. They have the largest data center REITs by market cap in the world. So they've got over 227 data centers in over 26 countries. So they are huge. The interesting thing is their main competition, they bought them. So they don't have a lot of competition. So they're pretty much expected to run away in the area of cloud storage market. And that market has been predicted to go up to 4x in 2022. So these guys, let's just say when I was researching these guys today, I threw them on my watch list really fast because they are a REIT, but at the same time, these are guys I think I want to be involved with. So I'm probably.
What was their stock going?
Their stock, I believe it's around $24. It's not very much.
Okay.
So because keep in mind, it's an American stock, and it's a REIT. So you're looking at dividends. So these right here, if you want these guys, and I'm not giving you financial advice, but this is the type of stock that is ideal to be going in your RRSP. And if you've got Wealth Simple Plus, throw it on the US side. So I'm definitely going to be investing in these guys. But as I said, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your due diligence. And if you like these the way I've looked at them today, you may be doing the same thing.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. Thank you so much, Candace. I get so much out of this every week, and I really, really appreciate it. I hope everybody else, loves it. I know that Carrie Lux has just asked a question. So Candace, maybe you could field that question there.
Okay, absolutely. So with the stocks, the way I did it initially is I actually hit the different ETFs, the Metaverse ETFs, to see what they have. In addition to that, a lot of Googling and looking at that point, looking to see what stocks are going to affect the Metaverse. So normally I have a master list that I keep, and I have it run. I've also got it set up as a watch list within one of my what's the name of it? Stock. I
Watch.
can't remember the name of it. It's a stock watch, but I don't remember the exact name because it's an American site. But I keep a big list there. That way, I can cater the information that comes into it. So basically, it makes it a lot easier for me because I want the 7-day and I want the 24-day average, and then I get all of that information. But I'm also keeping my ears open. If I hear of a stock that is making waves in the Metaverse that's not within one of the ETFs, I'll check them out and I'll add them to the list and start adding them. And that list keeps getting bigger. So every week, I have to put in probably another few extra minutes as it's building. Now, one of the nice things is that whenever a stock comes up on the list, I usually already have the card made up for it, unless they're brand new. So with this week, there were 2 brand new ones, so I had to make up 2 cards, and I already had the cards for the other 5. But that's where they come from. And just before I finish up with the Metaverse, last Sunday night went into the sandbox, and
yeah,
I didn't make a clip. I didn't have time today. I kind of ran out of time. I was gonna make a clip, but that went really well. I had my avatar. I was running around collecting blue diamonds, and then I got into this big jumping game where I had to find stuff and had to find inventive ways to jump, and I fell and jumped and fell and jumped, but it was not bad. Verena was there the whole time. So
did she make any comments?
Oh yeah, she was talking. She's talking quite a bit. No, it was a nice little thing. One of the neat things too is while I was in there, I got to see some of the games that are being developed. So I got to see the Snoop Dogg area.
Yeah.
So you had like a little Snoop Dogg avatar, and they've got a Walking Dead one where you can go in if you want to like fight zombies and stuff. So I'll do it again.
Was it fairly easy, Candace, to get into?
It wasn't bad at all, actually.
So did you have to do something funky like? Did you have to download something into a MetaMask wallet to order to get in there, or was it just go to a website? Like where would they go if they want to go into the
if you
sandbox?
Just go to CoinGecko and do a search on sand. It'll have its link for its website there. You'll go to the website. You'll download the application, and then you just pull up the application, and you can go in. You can play without having a MetaMask. But if you want to change your avatar, you have to set up a MetaMask. So this week I'm planning to set up the MetaMask with it because I want to change my avatar because, my avatar was kind of boring. I just would rather have an avatar with bright red hair that runs around.
Yeah.
Tip?
So CoinGecko has a new feature now that literally privacy coins, Metaverse, play to earn, just ton DeFi, you got to check it out, but that's the best. If you're just looking to browse, find a new, gem, that would probably be your best bet.
And that's where I go to get all my data. So it's nice that I can just click on their Metaverse feature and it brings up all the Metaverse coins.
Yeah.
Then I can just sort them alphabetically because my master list is done alphabetically.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I really love it. I love it. I think it's still going to be so huge, and we are still really early adopters here. We're all learning, and I think the difference between this time last year and now this time this year is I've been a little bit more controlled in what I've been jumping into to want to invest in. I've been a little more hesitant because I wasn't sure what the economy was going to be doing. But I write your stuff down, and I'm watching it, Candace. So I feel like I will be ready to do something soon.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I wouldn't I don't advise anybody jump in on anything on the Metaverse until you're ready. It's one of these situations where these coins are going to be going up, they're going to be going down, but when you get to the truth of the matter, the metaverse is still not ready for prime time yet. I mean, even the sandbox, I mean, it was still alpha season 2 that I'm in. So
Right.
it's still not out there. There's a few games that are out there, like Axie Infinity. I think there's a few space games out there as well that are now completely active. So you kind of have to sort of judge it that way. But investing in the coins now, dollar cost averaging into them, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Especially if it's going to be something that you think is going to be popular. But once again, it's hard to say when it comes to the gaming, right? You don't know what's going to be popular when the masses hit it, a year or 2 years down the road.
No, so totally true. So talking about games, can I get an update on the Kitty Inu? Are you still gung-ho on it?
Oh yeah. So obviously just, I don't look at the prices anymore because I don't like to cry. I know Tim and I have the occasional, I let them know that I haven't taken off with anyone's money, but yeah, no, Kitty looks phenomenal. The beta reviews are absolutely like going crazy. I guess there's a popular gamer guy for and he's big on reviewing, especially like NFT games or like crypto games. And he said that Kitty's going to be massive. He said that, it's one of the better crypto games out there for graphics and stuff like that. Cause obviously you look at like Axie Infinity or Doge Dash, any of the ones that are out there right now. They are definitely they still look cool, but they're like, Nintendo, Super Nintendo looking. Whereas this is a step up. It's got all the character. It's got the Mario Kart vibe, which I think will pick up easily. It's got Bored Ape Yacht Clubs in it, everything. So yeah, the reviews are absolutely out of this world. They're hitting on all the marks, right? They said beta would be out in February. It was. They're just crushing it. I feel really good. Obviously, it's still in its infancy. Like Candace said, it's in beta. But yeah, my big thing was and I was really worried because we were already in it, but I was like, please beta just be good reviews, and we're good. But it exceeded my expectations of what people were saying. I tried for beta, but my computer's too old school to I didn't make the requirements.
See, that's one of the ones I wouldn't mind playing. Now, while Tim was mentioning that, I did look up that website. It's a Bar Chart. That's the name of it. I was like, what the hell was the name of it? But Bar Chart, that's the one. You can create a free account. You can create a watch list, and you can actually configure your watch list to only bring in the information that you want. So you can choose different categories that you're interested in and only bring in that data. So it's very useful.
Right. Well,
awesome.
Scott DeRosa, because he had just said up earlier too, he had asked about is anyone doing play to earn? So obviously, Scott might be able to help me on this, because as far as I know, a lot of the games right now, I think Axie, correct me if I'm wrong, is more like a pay to play. So you still have to have X amount of what is it, Smooth Love Potion or whatever it is. I can't remember how much you earn Smooth Love Potion. I'm getting them all correct. I'm getting them all confused. But Kitty, along with, I think she had mentioned her number one pick there is going to be play to earn, which is going to be great for on-ramping. A lot of people, if they like that video game, but they don't know anything about crypto, it's going to be harder to get in. Now, I'm still pretty sure, though, for play to earn, you still have to attach your wallet or whatever to the game. So I guess you still have to have some knowledge of crypto. But this whole is it Jewel, DeFi Kingdoms and stuff? I've looked into it, but you have to, if you're not already involved in it, oh man, I'm getting them all confused. Either DeFi Kingdoms or Axie Infinity is big in the Philippines and making people a lot of money.
That's Axie Infinity.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. So, but from what I gather from Rohit, who's bigger into the games, I don't know if he's watching right now, but he's tried some of these games and he's played them. But he said that, it's kind of like, if you are already established and have been playing it for a long time, you're making more of the money. Whereas the people like me and you guys, if we just started now, we might not make as much money. So the play to earn has more of a good model. And like Candace said regarding her number one pick, you can earn NFTs and then you can have a marketplace for it. That's going to be a better tokenomics model in the long run for games, in my opinion. And then, of course, you couple in, and also Kitty's starting a metaverse. So they're calling it the 9verse, obviously Kitty 9 Lives. So,
I love it.
Yeah, so you incorporate all these things and you put it together. And at first I'd be like, oh, you're overdoing it. But then I see they're partnered with Oh God, I can't remember but the guys who worked with Pixar there and were partnered with Pixar. So they're also doing an Avgotchi type thing. They're going to have a Kitty Gotchi. So like they're firing off on all cylinders. So yeah, I feel confident enough to not look, even though it's a high risk, it's lower, it's still considered a meme coin in a way. But knowing the team, they're all doxing themselves now, seeing that the game is a proof of like it's not just proof of concept anymore. They've got like a proof of play now. I'm really good for that. But that game that she just mentioned, Candace, for the number one, I'm going to take a look at that because anything that's play to earn, I think is going to be the way you want to go in the metaverse for gaming.
Which one did you say again, Candace? I've written them down, but I didn't write them in an order.
Or deep space?
Deep space?
Yeah, deep space.
Okay, so Scott's saying Axie Infinity is a lot cheaper to start now. Free to play, but play to earn.
It's interesting that Candace had talked about Avgotchi a couple of weeks ago, eh, Candace?
Yeah, I think I first brought it up about a month ago.
Okay, a month ago. Yeah, I know. And then today I'm watching, just surfing around, and I see Digital Asset News. He's done a review on Avgotchi. So, Candace, you're ahead of the wave.
Well, you are.
So Avgotchi, though, is Aave, right? It's like their little pet project and stuff. So it's been around for a while. And it unfortunately, I was invested in it for a while. It just sat there forever. And of course, I got out, and now it's actually only up a 1x. But I don't think they're going down. Like that's going to be around for a while because the guys behind Aave there's some smart brains in that one, right?
Yeah.
Like the main dev, the lead dev, I can't remember his name, but he went and got his law degree just so he could handle Aave better. What guy just, I'll get my law degree just so I can, handle all the regulations and everything better.
Yeah, no kidding. Ken, question for you. Did you and Candace actually ever we were watching your show on Friday night, and it felt like you were just going in and you were listening to some kind of was it a Telegram group?
Yeah.
Did you ever get it? Did you guys ever get your coins?
No, they had to cancel the launch on that because somehow it got fired off on Uniswap and people were able to actually buy in. So what happened was some people switched their Satama for Sata Realty, and then they canceled the contract. So that Sata Realty is garbage. That Satama that they paid is going right to the burn wallet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So then what happens now?
We're just waiting for whenever they're going to launch it. It should be soon. I think they want to get it out before Dubai. Dubai's next week. Sata Mask is up and running though. You can swap. They got the 6 coins on there.
Wow.
And you are saving quite a bit swapping on there apparently. So
that's crazy.
So
it's crazy.
Nate's got a couple good questions about like the OpenSea hack and the meta hack. I know Tim and I had touched on this a couple days ago. The MetaMask thing. And I'm not dead set that I know. I obviously did a lot of reading on this because obviously we've spoke extensively about. I'm sure a lot of us are in MetaMask. From what I gather, because Venezuela, I guess, had banned Ethereum to move through. Like you couldn't do any Ethereum transactions in Venezuela and all this, which set off a thing. But it was a whole lot of FUD. MetaMask, you can either change the RPC, I guess, which I think we spoke about before for something like Matic or any other things that are going slow. They have multiple RPCs that you can change in that little, when you're adding, we spoke about adding either Binance chain or whatever chain to MetaMask. You just change the RPC. But more importantly, what I didn't know and just learned is say if something happens with MetaMask, and as long as you have your like seed phrase and all that written down, you can actually, it's just a platform. It's just an interface. So you can actually take your seed phrase and download like Trust Wallet instead, and it'll just go through on that. I'm obviously haven't tested that, so maybe we need more research on it, but that's just what I'm hearing.
That works. That's how I imported my wallet into SataMask.
Oh, okay. So we've had someone do it. Perfect. So Ken has verified that. And then the OpenSea, as far as I know, the OpenSea was like an inside job. And obviously with OpenSea, that's a platform that you're trusting them to be good people. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you have your seed phrase. You don't have like anything perfect on that. But you could also correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not doing, like I said, I'm pretty comfortable with my holdings right now, and just to not let emotions go through, I don't try to get too much into it. But the MetaMask caused me to really, I was like, okay, I need to do a deep dive on that. But OpenSea, as far as I know from just what I caught, it was more like of an internal hack, and people had been warning about that bug or whatever, the way to get through there and take out some NFTs and all that was there, and they didn't do anything about it. So OpenSea seems to be losing a lot of traction. Yeah, I hear Looks Rare is the one that a lot of people are raving about. I'm not as big into NFTs, and we're missing our NFT guru tonight, so it's
I know we are.
I don't know. I know he's got me into some NFTs, but like Candace said, like the only thing NFTs I'm interested in is like these pay to earn games. Like I'm really interested in investing in something like, if you can get in ground floor like Kitty or this Deep Space, and they become big games, and you've gotten in early and gotten some of these NFTs that are, I don't know, crucial to the game. You'd have to understand the game behind it and obviously what it is. But like with Kitty, it would be probably some amped up carts and stuff like that. I would assume you could make a pretty decent little side gig off that.
And you take something like Deep Space, you're encouraged to have like not just one ship, you need a fleet of ships.
There you go.
So when each ship becomes an NFT, and if you're creating these ships and new players coming in need a fleet, there's incentive for them to be buying some ships off the marketplace.
That's interesting. Well, this was a good conversation tonight. I think we should start to think about wrapping it up, because we've been almost at this for 1 hour and 51 minutes. This is awesome. Wanted to thank everybody so much for tonight. We hit a rare milestone. It looks like we have 900 subscribers now. Woo! So I know the little engine that could. So I don't know who the 3 people were that subscribed, but thank you. We really appreciate it. And I know that I'll just go around. I know, Candace, you got a lot of videos coming out, and you got your live stream on Saturday night.
I do.
So hopefully you might have an interesting guest on Saturday night, maybe. And then we will, do you have anybody that's confirmed?
Yeah.
Saturday night?
Yes, Nat.
I have somebody. They haven't confirmed it yet, but
there you go.
Okay, I'll come on.
So it's going to be Nancy.
Potentially, it's going to be me. I'm going to come on and chat with Candace, and we're going to talk about supply
I was
chain.
joking, really?
Yeah, it's a supply chain stream.
Yes,
Oh,
talk about supply chain.
We're going to go all the way down the rabbit hole as far as it goes.
Oh gosh. And you've got a couple other videos coming out, Candace?
Actually, all my videos are out by Wednesday now each week. But today's was a nice one. Today's was my oil video. So check that out if you haven't seen it already. And of course, next Sunday night, I'll be back in the sandbox again.
Can't wait. Ken, you got your 500 different live streams going on this week?
Yep, as far as I know, Andrew shall be back. We've made up.
Oh, really?
Oh, apparently it was all my fault. It's like, yeah, you know what? Whatever.
It always is.
So was he not on at all this weekend? Because we watch,
Yes,
we
he
jump
was.
in and we jump out
was
and
on.
we jump in and we jump out. And so, but he was there this weekend.
Saturday, I think it was. He popped on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so is his bromance going to be on there with you on Saturday night, Ryan?
I don't know.
And Ryan, you got your regular market closes coming out?
Same old. Yep.
Same old. Mr. Tim Perry, you got anything exciting happening this week?
I got to start dog sitting soon, so.
That's
after
fun.
this week, that's when I take off and split my time between the mountains and the surf. So
that's amazing. That is really amazing. Well, thank you so much, all of you that participated tonight. I really, really appreciate it. And for all of those in the chat, we so much appreciate it. You make us, it adds so much to the conversation. We can't even possibly tell you how much fun it is to do this live. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. As long as there's not a cyber attack, we will be here. Anyways, have a good night, everybody.